Welcome to Shift, a safe haven in honor of Lynda, the beloved sister and best friend of your dynamic and inspirational host, Lisa Council. You will experience uplifting and encouraging testimonies of women, men, and teens who have survived and overcome domestic abuse and trauma.
Today, I wanted to give a little insight on my journey through grief and the journey of me losing my only sister, Lynda, who this podcast is in honor of. July 18th, 2023 marked the 30th year anniversary of my only sister, Lynda's untimely death. Her voice was silent due to the strongholds of domestic violence. Lynda was brutally murdered on the night of July 18th. I was actually the last person that she spoke to. That Sunday, my sister and I were on the phone, and we had a ritual that we did every Sunday night where we would watch television together. We would pick a movie and watch it. That phone call started at 9 p.m. that night, and it ended about 5 minutes later. And within 15 minutes later, my sister was brutally murdered by her husband, who was abusive. And I had two nieces, and my nieces at the time were 3 and 8 years old, witnessed their mother's untimely death by their father. My sister was brutally murdered. She was stabbed over 30 times in the upper torso. Her skull was completely crushed, and she was shot in the head 4 times at close range. And I just wanted to give everyone a brief synopsis of the aftermath of dealing with such a tragedy and how it is for families like me and others to try to go on with this journey called life, as we go through the process. And it's a hard process. It's a rigorous process. At times you just want to give in and throw in the towel, but it's important that we all continue to find the strength and the zeal and the will to keep going. And in my journey as an advocate, I always like to tell individuals that you can get through this. You can make it through the storm. I am a living witness and testimony that we can make it through the storm. We can make it through the storm of PTSD. We can make it through the storm of thoughts of denial. We can make it through the storm of depression. We can make it through the storm of oftentimes what we have after losing a loved one so suddenly and violently and tragically. We can make it through the storm of survivor's guilt. We can make it through the storm of feeling like we're in agony. And we can make it through the storm of feeling like we're alone in this journey or this process. So that's why it was important for me 3 years ago, going into 4, to start the podcast Shift. Self-healing ignites flourishing transformation, because it gives both you and I the skills and the will and the zeal to want to heal, to want to go on, to want to live our lives, to the fullest. And I always like to tell people on this journey that the road isn't easy. There'll be a lot of bumps and bruises in the road, but it's important for each of us to continue to live on and go on and strive and give it our best fight. During the time of my sister's death, I remember so vividly promising both of my nieces laying in the bed the night prior to my sister's funeral that I would make certain that none of us were alone in this journey, and that I would do all that I possibly could do to keep my sister's legacy alive and to always honor my sister. And I thought that road would be easy, but I'm here to tell you that road took me 20 plus years to get where I am now. It took me to go through the grief process. It took me to go through the anger process. It took me go through the days of anxiety. It took me to go through years of counseling. And within that time of losing my sister, I also lost my brother to suicide. He took his own life a year and a half later, which was just another tragedy all in itself. So I had to, my family and I work through that process as well. But during this time, and just now passing that 30-year mark and now coming up on my sister's, which would have been her 60th birthday, I just thought that it was very important to share what it's been like for my family and I after losing my sister and my brother. The one thing I did want to touch on was grief. Because that's a subject that always comes up when you're dealing with the grief process. And grief, that's just what it is. It's a process. And I'm oftentimes asked, well, when are you going to stop grieving? Or you should be at this point or place right now in your life or in your grieving process. And I just wanted to tell someone today, I don't know who this is for and who needs to hear this, but from my perspective and my experience of what I've gone through, along with my family, is that grief is a process. It can be a lifelong process and journey, just as anything else. There are days of sadness. There are days when you may feel okay. There are days as you can go about, your lives as normally as you would. But also, I always tell people to take it one day at a time. Take it 1 minute at a time, take it 1 hour at a time, take it 1 second at a time, because we never know when those feelings might just seep up. But we have to deal with those feelings and in that journey of grief, just like with anything else. But also know that you're not alone in your journey, or you can surround yourself with people who can just be a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on without any judgment. Or, back when we were going through the tragedy of losing my sister, there weren't a lot of programs out there that we could go to for help. So what we did as a family unit and structure is we went through a time of just not discussing what we had gone through, and just trying to brush it under the rug and move on with life, as we normally would. But at some point, the grief is going to hit you. At some point, the sadness is going to hit you. At some point, the anger is going to hit you, especially when you're dealing with a tragedy of this magnitude. And just like forgiveness as well, forgiveness is in your time and in your space. Because oftentimes we will have people who they want to give us the right words and they want to give us encouragement and they want to give us inspiration. But in all honesty, sometimes people just may not know what to say. And we as individuals have to be understanding of that. And those words can be triggers when people are saying things to you as such. Oh, all things happen for a reason. Oh, God takes the good ones first. Be strong. One thing I hear often is get over it. And I have other sisters through advocacy who's been through these type of tragedies as well. That's one of the things we always discuss is, oh, you just get over it. And while someone may feel that those are the right words, oftentimes they just aren't, because like I said, people just sometimes they don't know what to say and they mean no harm. When you're dealing with this type of tragedy, also for my family and I, one of the experiences that we have had to relive is going through the parole process. And we normally have to go up for parole every 2 to 3 years, which makes you have to deal with the tragedy all over again. And it seems like it never goes away on top of you already living through it. But we have been constant, about making certain that justice is served for Lynda, and that we continue to be her voice, and that we continue to make sure that her legacy lives on. It was important for me to come on today and just to share a bit of my testimony, because oftentimes I'm asked, well, why did you do this? And who is your sister? And was it really your sister? I run into people all the time that say, oh, I thought you were just advocating for someone that you know. And no, Lynda was my sister, my only sister. We were 5 years apart. We did everything together. My mom dressed us alike when we were little kids. I can laugh about that now. It wasn't funny then. But although my sister was 5 years older than me, I was her protector. I always protected her from everything because she was a very quiet individual and Lisa is a little more vocal. So I always felt as though I had to protect my sister because she was very quiet, shy, and timid. I never knew that it would get to a point in my life where I had to actually become the voice for Lynda. And it's a blessing that I have been able to do so. I pray that you've been blessed by S.H.I.F.T. I pray that my journey and my story will continue to give someone hope, inspire, and encourage, and let anyone know that they're not alone in this journey, because oftentimes one of the things that I did feel, and sometimes I do feel, is that I'm alone. Because this just isn't a story or a testimony that you share with everyone. Some people just do not understand. So through S.H.I.F.T, I just want to continue to give everyone hope and let you know that we're all on this healing journey together, that we can come out from being victims of domestic violence to being survivors and working our way to being thrivers, but to also let you know that again that the yellow brick road to healing will not be easy, but you just have to pull yourself up and you have to encourage yourself and you have to keep going. And it's just my desire that we can just all continue to go through this journey together. And as we gear up on coming up on our year 4, I just wanted to personally thank everyone for being on this journey with me and the wonderful special guests that we've had in the past 3 years who have blessed me tremendously. We will be having a celebration for Lynda on September 3rd, 2023, in Fort Washington, Maryland. And I just ask anyone who would like to join in the 10-hour inaugural banquet and fundraiser. If you would like to join us, please reach out to me on my Facebook page, Lisa Council, and just send me something in Messenger or send me a friend request. And we would love to have you there to celebrate Lynda's life and legacy with us. It is always my desire to let you know that as we walk through this path of healing from domestic violence, that you know that it has never been your fault. You are beautiful. You are worthy. You can have a life filled with happiness and joy. You never have to believe the words that your abuser or abusers have spoken to and over you. You are beautiful. You are unique. And continue on your journey towards healing. I promise you, it will be beautiful. It's been absolutely beautiful for me. Through the ups and the downs and the tears and the grief and the anxiety and the depression and the denial, whatever it may be, those abusive words or anything that you may be dealing with, if you just dig deep down inside, I promise you that you will find joy. And together, I just desire for us to continue to shift. And if any of you are going through domestic violence right now, or you know someone, please, you can reach out to me as an advocate, and you can also reach out to the domestic violence hotline at 1-800-799-7233. And I just ask, let's continue to shift on this journey together. Peace and blessings, everyone.
What are you doing to heal? Remember, your healing is imperative. Healing renews, soothes, and makes you whole. Shift. See you right here next time.